Linking people and ideas with Meet the CIOs. Proudly sponsored by Arabia.com, the human face of IT.
There's no doubt that technology is revolutionizing the world we live in. But with South Africa's social and economic concerns, can this modern-day miracle be used to empower our young democracy? And with issues like housing and unemployment, can local governments afford to invest in a strategic information technology system? City of Cape Town's CIO Nirvesh Sooful argues that they can't afford not to. These aren't only some of the challenges he faces every day, but also one of the main reasons he is passionate about IT's role in local government.
And the technologies that you actually implement and the solutions that you implement is actually about making a difference in people's lives. And I think that's been a philosophy that I've tried to drive from an information technology perspective. I've tried to say that information technology is there to enable the core mandate of local government, which is actually to deliver social and economic development of the city. And from a technology perspective, we look at how we use information technology to then deal with all of those aspects.
But with only 1 in 12 South Africans with access to the internet, there are concerns that revolutionary technology could further widen the gap between the haves and have-nots in our local economy.
Politicians need to make those trade-offs, and that's actually quite difficult. And you need to understand that environment. You need to understand then how do you actually add value in an environment like that. And I think that's a very complicated environment to actually work in. So you've got to be quite creative then in terms of saying, well, how do you then go and do what you're doing from a technology perspective, but in a way that actually doesn't go and take away, let's say, houses from people or water or those kind of issues.
So it makes sense that one of his most successful projects to date has been providing free internet access points to Cape Town citizens. The Cape Smart Access project has set up 5 terminals in the 100 public libraries around the city, allowing the public access to the internet and a smart Cape email address, something most have never experienced before. The project was enabled by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation's $1 million Access to Learning Award after a successful pilot run in 6 underprivileged communities.
Today we have about 95,000 registered users of that facility. Massive success in terms of people finding jobs, in terms of communities using those systems to go and get information on things like women abuse, and then taking that information and going into communities. We found people, I mean, there's this example of this guy, this one chap in Delft, who used to make pies and samosas. And he's used these facilities now to register with government, and he won a tender, and he now gets 80% of his orders through these facilities. So a very, very interesting, exciting project around how you can use technology to start to drive local economic development. And that project has got worldwide recognition.
But one thing Nirvesh does have in common with the private sector CIOs is his focus on enabling business processes with information technology. Only for him, the organization he is adding value to is his own city. Nirvesh's most ambitious project to date is the SAP implementation, boldly joining 7 authorities and merging 150 systems into one. This platform has enabled the City of Cape Town to produce one face to its citizens and enables them to pay bills that can now be provided in any language at any point. And because any interaction with the municipality now goes through this integrated IT backbone, it means that vital information is at hand and on record.
If you want to fill fuel in a vehicle, if you want to move a piece of, if you want to implement anything in the City of Cape Town, you will basically have to interact with the SAP system. If somebody phones in and reports a street light outside of their house that's faulty, they will phone into the call center. That will be logged within SAP. That will create a workflow, and it will be workflow to the department to actually go and track the work that's actually been done. And they will then track their resources and cost against that particular workshop.
While this project cost the city around 354 million rand, it was paid for in less than 6 months. Furthermore, the business system brings in around 1 billion rand extra for the municipality each year. But this system also has a strategic eye on the future. With complete, accessible and transparent records of how its money is being spent, Cape Town stands to save by being able to take a proactive stance on maintaining their assets and infrastructure.
Proactive maintenance is actually saying we want to get to a point where it's actually planned, where we actually have a maintenance program for all of our assets, so that we know upfront that we have to do this, and in this year we're going to maintain, let's say, 1/3 of the asset, and it's going to cost us X amount, and that's a fixed thing, and nobody can change that. Whether political priorities or whatever change, you're not going to change that, because you need to maintain that core asset to the level that it's actually supposed to be. We're not as far as we need to be, but I think we're probably the only city that has got a system where we're doing this kind of stuff, and where we're starting to get the historical information, and we are able to start to use that.
And while Nirvesh is striking a balance between adding value to Cape Town's business processes and addressing social concerns, he's also looking to what IT can do for his city's future.
One of the big initiatives is the municipal broadband network. And the strategy that I'm actually advocating at the moment is that the city plays an enabling role in bringing down the cost of telecommunications for the city. I'm advocating that we put municipal fiber basically everywhere, and that we own and that we make that municipal fiber available to commercial service providers who commit to making voice and data services available to our citizens at a low cost. And I think that's going to be very exciting. I think if we can do that, that turns the dynamics around, because it then means that we can start to connect all of our citizens. It then means we move away from this idea of public access, but actually people can be connected in their homes, because the cost is relatively low cost.
Linking people and ideas with Meet the CIOs. Proudly sponsored by Arabia.com, the human face of IT.
Guo Jialiang did well today in his school tests, so